Alright, so, Tuchanka may be done, but we have something new here with that, well, new flash showing up there. Priority the Citadel. I'm deliberately not going to hover over this because we might actually get spoilers if we do. I'm not entirely sure at this stage how much detail our quest description is going to go into, but needless to say, it sounds like something important is happening at the Citadel, and it is probably best if we pay a quick visit. So that is probably next on our agenda here, though we could potentially go down to the shuttle bay and see if there are any upgrades we might want to make. I know we did make a point of making several upgrades recently. In fact, how are we doing from a credit standpoint? We're doing a decent job. If we take a quick look here, I'm just kind of curious to see, of the weapons that we've been using regularly, what, if anything, might we still be able to upgrade here? Because we did upgrade the Typhoon, which was probably the biggest one. The Acolyte we have not upgraded, however, and that's something that I might be interested in throwing an extra few credits in, because that's, of course, our primary weapon. We may not be a weapons damage dealing character all that much, because we're using our biotics most of the time, and our teammates are there to shoot stuff in the face, but, I mean, having a little more damage on the Acolyte certainly would not be unwelcome. So that is a little bit intriguing. Just want to see, like, particle rifle. I mean, every once in a while we might use this, namely when we have James to take full advantage of his incendiary ammo explosions. That might still be slightly better than the Typhoon for him, but don't know that we're going to be using James all that often now that we have Garrus more or less all the way up and running. So don't really think that's a terribly high priority. Scorpion for our squad mates that are using either pistols or SMG. There are several of them, like Liara, Edie, and so could potentially make a case for making that upgrade. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I'd say Scorpion and the Acolyte are probably the ones you can make the best case for. So we do have some credits to spare. I feel like it might be worth throwing in those levels. Maybe not fully upgrading them right now, but at least getting some upgrades here. Let's see. How much monies is this going to cost us? Fair bit by the time we do fully upgrade, but I think it's going to pay off long term. That way we can have pretty good confidence that when we're using that Acolyte, if we have an enemy that has shields or barriers, one solid hit from that, and we should get rid of most, if not all, of those in one hit, and then we can start hitting that enemy with a bunch of our biotics after that. Then the Scorpion, maybe not quite as high of a priority, but sure, we'll at least throw a few levels into this. And there we go. And we still have a little bit of credits to spare, so it's not like we are broke at this stage. And like I said, I mean, those are really some of the only upgrades we might need for our weapons, because Typhoon is going to answer pretty much all of our, or solve all of our potential weapon problems for at least almost anyone that can use an assault rifle. Maybe the particle rifle for James on some occasions, as we were saying, but that's not as high of a priority. We could also, if we were willing to suffer the slight price inflation here, the 10% markup, then we could buy things here as well. Not really sure that's super necessary. Again, you know, there are some things like high caliber barrels for SMGs that might be theoretically nice to have, but not totally needed. Or assault rifle only, but no. Anything here that immediately catches our attention as something we would like to have? The armors we are now priced out of, but I don't think that was something we were about to buy anyway. Not really concerned about that. Could further upgrade our metagel capacity, which is not a terrible idea, but that's also hopefully not super urgent. Is this the Mines Requisitions? Is this the one at the Spectre terminal? Where is this one? No? For some reason I thought the Indra was at the Spectre terminal. I was gonna say, if we're buying the most expensive stuffs, then that's probably the kind of thing that we would like to buy direct and not get that 10% markup, because then that markup starts to become a pretty significant number. Even here, not really sure I'm seeing all that much. It looks like it is critically important that we get immediately here. Pistol high caliber barrel, again, would be nice for us, because that is something we're using on the Acolyte. That might be, at least other things that I've seen here, highest priority. Here's the Spectre requisition, so yeah, this is all the super expensive stuff. Pistol power magnifier would actually be quite useful. In fact, you could maybe make the case for that more so than anything else, but got weapons here, and extended barrel for the sniper on Garrus would be useful. High velocity barrel as well. You can make a case for all that stuff, but don't think any of this stuff is so critically important that we get it right now. I think we can go without it for at least a little bit. So let's head back up to CIC. And Lids, what is all this about being concerned about prepping for whatever it is we're about to see? Well, let's save. Because let's just say we've got ourselves what could amount to be, potentially, the most difficult mission that we have yet to play. So, let's hop into the galaxy map. And, well, that's Novaria, where we just had our mission in which we were taking down some Cerberus peoples. Now, we could potentially, after having finished that mission, see if we might want to try to scan some places that are not fully explored, because we came close on a few occasions, like with Hades Gamma. Oh, I know we were talking about some of these places, trying to scan some locations, and not having enough ability to scan before the Reapers rushed us out, and then saying to ourselves, well, I hope we remember what we did and did not scan, otherwise we might just come back on a later occasion and repeat history. And so I can't say that I remember all that well what we did and did not scan here in Hades Gamma, so that makes me a little concerned that that's exactly what's going to happen. But that is a little bit tempting to do, because we're starting to make pretty good progress through the game here. Start to see several places that we have perhaps not spent much time in either. But because we are starting to make pretty decent progress through the game, that does mean that we're not going to have as many opportunities, or at least our number of opportunities is going to start to decrease significantly, in which we can explore areas. If worse comes to worse, get overrun by Reapers and have to flee, but still have the chance to just go out and do another mission and reset that stuff. So that means if we get late enough in the game where we're trying to scan stuff and the Reapers chase us out, we might be stuck forever in that situation and either need to somehow maneuver our way around those Reapers and still get our scans off and collect all the resources we'd like to collect, or just be super, super mindful of the places that we have and have not already scanned and know precisely where we need to get our resources from, because otherwise we could miss out. So that's why something like going to the Hades Gamma cluster here and at least trying to finish this off, I think might be a good thing to give a shot here. I'm pretty sure that it is precisely one thing. Yeah, the caucus system here. Now, how much fuel do we have is the other question. Oh, 28. 28. So that means before we do anything here, we probably do need to go to a system where we can actually refuel. And there is no fueling station there. So what if we go to, like, I mean, some of these more minor clusters may not have a refueling station, kind of like Hades Gamma. Although I'm not sure, have we even been to the Ninma cluster? Oh, this is where we had, I'm pretty sure, the Krogan team mission in which we hung out with Grunt a little bit and met the Rachni Queen once again. Pretty sure that's where this took place. So presumably we explored on that occasion and there just wasn't anything here at all. That's why it still does not show a number there. Secret's Cradle still 100%. Strike Abyssal. Don't remember if we've been here at all. feel like we were. Maybe I'm mixing it up with the Ismar Frontier. Both sort of in this top left corner of the galaxy. Let's see if there's anything here. We might have already been here. I don't recall, but in case we haven't, we'll explore the area. And, I mean, that is assuming that it has a fueling station, which we certainly hope is the case. Okay, we are getting the names popping up, which I think means we've been here. Any of these names sound familiar, though? Because they kind of don't. We just do a quick...
I found something.
Oh. Okay. We have not been here. It does not seem. And there are still things for us to do here. However, there is some Reaper attention that we are now gathering. Okay, but we can check out Zataban. So, fortunately, we did a random scan in a place where there is something. So let's see what the deal is here. So Zataban is a large, dense planet named for a Volus god of punishment. Its crust is rich in uranium, eroded by winds to create large radioactive dust storms across its surface. The Volus of Talisphia have explored the planet thoroughly with space probes and telepresent robo-mining machines, and discovered that they are not the first to exploit the planet. Plastics from a mining station approximately 50,000 years ago can be found near the planet's equator. Curiously, the mines nearby were not tapped out of uranium ore. They were instead abandoned at the height of their operation. Population is 22,500 in orbital stations, but there's no capital station here. And the 50,000 number may strike the attention of some of you Mass Effect veterans out there. That is not a coincidence, I don't think. Let's actually scan it, though. Let's see what the... hold on. Let's actually scan it, preferably. There we go. So what is the deal here? The deal is, well, we got some credits. Sure. We did just spend a bunch, so not bad to pick up a few more. And especially because we are probably looking to refuel quite soon. Let's see, so now that we have determined that, yes, indeed, there are additional things for us to do here, this is not a place that we have already visited and explored to the fullest extent, let's slow down a little bit and smell the roses, and by that I mean read about these planets and maybe get some insights as to where we should spend our next scan, because, well, given how much that first one filled our meter, I think we can do one more safely, and then a second subsequent scan would trigger the Reapers. Definitely, at that point it would. So that would... oh. Except, well, here's where we need to scan. So I found it. And it is a little bit of fuel, which I'm not sure is going to be enough for us to get to the neighboring system here, but could at least reduce the price of us purchasing fuel, if we are going to have to do that before we head out. We're also going to see, as soon as we exit out of this, if the Reapers have noticed that we are here. So, and if that is the case, do we run for the mass relay and flee altogether? Or do we delay a little bit, try to make our run to the other system and see if 178 fuel is sufficient? I don't think it is. Regardless of how close this next system is, I think there's little to no chance of us being able to make it there in time. So I think, yeah, we probably do make it to the mass relay here no matter what. So yeah, the wreckage of a fuel depot destroyed by enemy forces. Fuel can be salvaged from the debris. Okay, so we recover 150. I'm going to start going toward the mass relay just in case Reapers attack. Not quite. Okay, so that is 100% of the assets here. So as long as we don't accidentally press the scan button, which I honestly wouldn't put past myself to do, then we can take a little bit of time to at least see what the deal is here and read up on the planets. We'll head out, refuel elsewhere, and then head back here to go to Erla Rast. So let's see what the deal is. So Vem Oska. The Jovian gas giant, Vem Oska, Weeping Witness, in Hyperion Volus. Oh, is this perhaps either the Volus? No, we know what the Volus home planet is. All I can think of right now is the Elcor home planet of Takuna, but Irune is the Volus home planet. So is this maybe the system next door is the one where the Volus homeworld is? We already seen it? But either way, it does seem as though we've seen a couple references to Volus now, that this is an area where the Volus are rather prominent. So Jovian gas giant, Vem Osca, Weeping Witness in Hyperion Volus, is a low-density hydrogen-helium planet with 35 moons. Later this year, 33 of the moons will be visible from the planet's surface in a conjunction, an event that will be recorded by space probes from all over the galaxy. This sounds familiar, because this reminds me a whole lot of the conjunction of spheres for The Witcher, and I feel like that thought has crossed my head before. So, have we been here before? Just a sense of deja vu for some reason? Not entirely sure. Not entirely sure. But we'll take it one planet at a time here. Then we have Tossal Nim. The sister tragedy to the extinction event on Aphros, Tossal Nim was the rarest of jewels, a second garden planet within the same life zone as Aphros. Not as old as its sister planet, its fossil evidence indicates it was home to abundant invertebrate sea life. However, similar craters to those on Aphros created a dust shroud that killed 99% of biota on the planet. The even spacing of the craters indicates a coordinated, simultaneous attack from points around the globe, rather than an asteroid collision or supervolcanic scenario. So not natural disaster of any variety. Seems as though some kind of military force destroyed all or 99% of life on this planet. But yeah, I mean, the atmospheric pressure is a little bit thick, but otherwise 18 degrees Celsius, gravity's a little strong, but not unreasonable. Would have been a pretty nice place, seems. But it sounds like that was just one of two of the garden worlds in this system, including Aphros being the other. A unique discovery, Aphros is a heavenly twin, a planet in a star system that has not one but two worlds of sufficient mass to retain a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere within the habitable life zone of its parent star. And think about, I mean, there are all these systems that just don't have any livable planets in them, yet this one has two right next to each other, and that is just amazing. So the probability of that happening is so low. Fossil evidence shows abundant vertebrates and evidence of a sapient terrestrial avian species in its Bronze Age. However, the only trace of contemporary life on the planet is that of single-celled organisms in its seas. Okay, so there is still some life there, but just super simple. All else has suffered from an extinction event, a series of massive impacts that vaporized vast quantities of water and lofted dust into its atmosphere. Early theories that this event was a collision with a fragmenting asteroid have now been discounted. The impact craters were aimed directly at habitation centers, so again, much like we read about at the other planet, this doesn't look like a natural disaster. Some kind of coordinated attack, yeah. And in this case, slightly thicker atmosphere, slightly hotter, lower gravity, but also theoretically still livable. And we did read about Zadaban. But let's use our mass relay here. And let's at the very least just load up on some fuel, which I'm not going to go to the Citadel to do because we have that other mission at the Citadel, and we'd like to wait a little bit before we do that. So, where do we know there is a refueling station? I'm assuming there's one in the Krogan DMZ. Then once we do refuel, we'll have enough fuel to actually go over to that neighboring system, and we'll check that out. Yes, there is a fuel depot. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. We did pick up a little more credits and a little more fuel, so more money to spend on fuel, and we don't need quite as much to top ourselves off. Let's restock here. So now we are in much better shape for that. So let's see. It was here in the Shrike Abyssal. Okay, so the Shrike Abyssal was 50% explored. We have 100% assets here after finding two things. That would suggest there are two things in Erla Rast as well. So how far away is it? Did we really need to refuel? Yeah, probably. probably this we would not have been able to make it to with just 100 and whatever fuel we had before. Okay. Looks relatively small for what it's worth. Let's start with the planets, and we'll see what we want to do from there. So we have Daz Atab. An ice giant, Daz Atab, Sky Warden, has a bluish tinge from its hydrogen methane atmosphere. Its axial tilt causes its seasons to vary wildly in temperature. Okay. Then Talisphia. Talisphia is a planet capable of supporting life, if that life happens to breathe ammonia. Not so great for humans. Discovered by Asari explorers, the planet was used as a bargaining chip by Citadel Council, who quickly drafted a colonization agreement with its wealthy client race, the Volus, who I believe do breathe ammonia. The Council would fund the Volus colonization effort in return for massive trade benefits. With uncharacteristic enthusiasm, an enormous Volus influx ensued, and the Council reaped the economic benefits for a dozen years before the colonization bubble burst. Reapers found Talisphia easy prey. Uh-oh. The independent planet had a defense fleet only sufficient to handle small-scale actions. Its high population and industrial base, once a deterrent to war with other Terminus system worlds, has only served to attract a larger number of Reapers than usual. Yikes. Oh yeah. And despite it being a colonized world, which might make you think, oh, you know, they only headed over here recently, probably not a huge number of people yet, population still very much growing, it's 3.8 billion Volus. That's a whole lot. A whole lot. So, you know, at first I was reading that and I was thinking, well, if it's just a tiny little colony, then why would the Reapers even bother? We've heard in other places where they very much made a point of going after the big population centers and placed a lower priority on some of the smaller places. So it seemed like this would have been one of them, and perhaps, despite not having much in the way of defenses, it might have skidded on by unnoticed for that reason. But no, with 3.8 billion people, the Reapers have targeted it, and things have not gone well, it seems. High pressure, which makes sense. The Volus, that's why they wear the suits whenever we see them, because their bodies are adapted to live in high pressure environments, and they would quite literally explode if they did not wear those suits. So, and then it is cold though. Relatively strong gravity too. So I'm tempted to scan that. I feel like that is probably, of the planets, of the two planets we've read thus far, that would be the one that I would lean toward. Then we've Bovis Tor. Named the Shining Sea in an old Volus language, Bovis Tor is so named for its boiling surface rich in glowing hot alumina, flecked with dark ridges of carbon. Its thick atmosphere of nitrogen and oxygen is no indicator of life, since the temperatures are simply too high. 253 degrees Celsius, yeah, I suppose so. And of course, after hearing that this has become a place where Volus have certainly set up a pretty significant population, makes sense. All these Volus names. So I'm thinking we probably scan Talisphia, but I'm guessing we're gonna find one other scannable thing that is not directly on a planet, so we might, especially given how small this place is, we might just do a little bit of a zigzagging around the area, especially because we saw Reapers attack the other place fairly quickly, or at least became aware of our presence relatively quickly. Did I hear something there? No, I made that up. Did I? I did not. There is something here.
Signal confirmed.
How much do the Reapers care about our presence? More than I would like them to. More than I would like them to. Okay, so, well, we can certainly take this, but we probably have one more scan, and with that other scan, we may very well fill this meter and get the Reapers chasing after us. So let's check this out. It's probably fuel, just based on how it's not on a planet. That is usually the case. Wreckage. The wreckage of a fuel depot destroyed by enemy forces. Fuel can be salvaged from the debris. I think we had spent around 250 fuel to get here, and so we get all that back. We over-fuel up by a slight amount. Yeah, I'm thinking we scan Talisphia. But given how we may fill our meter in the process, let's exit here real quick and save first, just in case the Reapers actually do catch us. So that would be very unfortunate if that that were to be the fate we'd meet. Oh, and we also no longer know where the Reapers are approaching from, because I was about to say, we need to make an escape route, because that is our place where we're actually going to leave, but we could exit this area from any angle we'd like. The problem is that, well, this planet we're about to try to scan is right in the middle, so there's no quick and easy way out, but we're going to try. Okay, go for it. Quickly, quickly. So there is something at Talisphia. Let's scan it. And in this case, it's a protein obelisk. Whoa. Okay. Bear in mind, we are probably about to get chased out by Reapers, so run like heck. Yep, here they are. I'm really hoping there isn't one right there. Okay, run, 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 run.
Evasion successful.
Evasion successful, though. We're fine. We're fine. No worries here. We are totally fine. We are totally fine. Now, just don't accidentally press the scan button and send the Reapers chasing after us here as well, because we had a long way to go to our mass relay. We're fine. I don't know what you're worried about. We're totally fine. So yeah, as it turns out, the Shrike Abyssal, we were able to explore, and it is now 100% explored, now that we picked up that Prothean artifact. Is there anything else we'd like to explore in the meantime? The Ninma Cluster, as I said, although it has 0%, I think we did explore this, because this was where I'm fairly certain we did the Krogan team mission. And that means there are very few places left that we've not explored. Minos Wasteland might be worth giving a shot, because again, we want to make sure we explore these things relatively early in case Reapers chase us out of those systems. And we need to do a mission to reset the Reapers being mad at us so that we have a chance to double back and get what we missed. So there's a chance we've been here and already verified that there is nothing of interest, but let's just confirm. Oh, and it is tiny. Okay, we have Iquitas, Yetas, and Vir. This does not sound familiar. Let's see, so Iquitas, home to the famous Iron Canyons. Iquitas has reddish iron oxide dust, hematite, covering much of its surface, and significant blue cobalt deposits that freckle the terrain. Turian explorers have discovered hot springs in the polar ice caps, heated by magma in the planet's crust. In a strange combination of science and hucksterism, a small facility exports water from these springs, which is bottled and sold as having medicinal properties. The funds are then used to maintain a research station, which has discovered some fossil evidence that Iquitas once harbored microscopic life based on deoxyribonucleic acids, DNA, in those springs. Okay. Then we have Pietas. Though Pietas has a combination of features that make a terraforming possibility, the rights to the planet have been tied up in council courts for the past 9 years. The running joke is that by the time the council finally gives the go-ahead to colonize the planet, Pietas will have evolved a life of its own. Home to comfortable temperatures and a mild atmosphere of mostly nitrogen and argon, Pietas could be habitable with the addition of oxygen-producing cyanobacteria. Its crust is high in silicates and carbon, allowing for easy fabrication of construction materials. This, I don't think we've been here, but this also sounds vaguely familiar because this reminds me a ton of... This is like exactly what I did for my thesis in college. So, like, oh, what happens if we bring cyanobacteria to Mars and use that to try to create an oxygen atmosphere? Well, that's what they're trying to do here, potentially, if it ever gets sorted out. Smugglers, pirates, and other unregistered starships sometimes touch down on Pietas to lay low or make repairs. Civilian travel is not advised. So, yeah, atmospheric pressure, a little bit high, but not unbearable, presumably. Temperature, 21 degrees Celsius, awesome. A little bit light on the gravity, but altogether, probably fine. Then Vir. A pressure cooker planet with a thick, nitrogen-heavy atmosphere, Vir is largely ignored by the galactic community. Probes have revealed a crust of nickel and scorched carbon, both of which can be found in abundance elsewhere at far lesser temperatures. Yeah, because it is 106 atmospheric pressures. That's pretty insane. And 778 degrees Celsius, that's also pretty insane. Alright, so we are looking to scan here. And this is so tiny, we might as well do a little exploration, see if we hear anything. That was just fear. Don't read into that. Plants are so close together, we might be able to scan them all in one fell swoop. Still not 100% certain that we haven't tried scanning here before. But I could see this being small enough that there's just a single thing here, and it happens to be on one of the planets. It's like, we do this.
I found something.
We do find something. Okay, the Reapers. I was going to say, the Reapers might not gain awareness here very quickly because it's such a tiny system with so little connections. That's usually the thing that determines how quickly they raid, but I did not put no spoilers in a remastered game. I'm not entirely sure what you were referring. Well, so I put no spoilers in the stream because, for the most part, we are trying to, although I've played the game before, I'm trying to be respectful of people who have not played the game before, and not just talk about, oh, this is exactly what's about to happen for people who are experiencing it for the first time. So that's the idea behind no spoilers. So, we now have something to scan here on Pietas. Because yeah, I mean, although Mass Effect originally, of course, came out many years ago, there are a lot of people who are just visiting the franchise for the first time, well, with the remaster that came out. So for a lot of us, myself included, it's not the first time, but for others, it very well may be. So there may be some people who are interested, but want to experience it a little more authentically and not hear about, well, this is how all the stuff is going to end. Okay, so, oh, that was not everything. That was only 50%. Oh. Oh, well, last thing is right here, which we will now take, and we will then immediately get attacked by Reapers. It's fuel, and we got to skedaddle. Fortunately, we were right next to that mass relay. So, yeah. Good thing, too. So I think we've now explored basically everything that we wanted to explore. Again, I think despite that things not having a number, I think that there just isn't anything there at all. Hades Gamma, Oh, right, we were waiting to refuel. Okay, let's do it. Now that we have the fuel to do this, we can check this out as well. Hopefully get to 100%. Also, now apparently the Reapers Chasing Us music will be playing forever. So, great. Wonderful. I believe we are on 100 or 1,000 fuels. We can go to the Caucasus system. We went here previously, and we scanned. And we tried to get the stuff, all the stuff from scanning. And we got one of the two things. But then we got the Reapers invading the system before we got the second thing. The problem is, I don't remember what we did and did not scan. So that's going to make life a little difficult for us here. I imagine what we did was that we focused on scanning planets. I'm guessing we scanned Cho, because Cho is a planet that there is a mission on in Mass Effect 1, and our going theory was that any planet that had a mission in Mass Effect 1 is worth scanning because there's usually some kind of asset there. So I'm guessing that's where we used our scans previously, and then we probably used our subsequent scans on, you know, either you or you out here, and we were unsuccessful, and then the Reapers invaded after just 2 scans, and so we didn't have any way to check for other stuffs. My guess is that, kind of like what we just saw, we probably have, in this system, one asset that was on Cho, and then the other one is just floating around here in the middle of nowhere somewhere. And so that's going to be a little bit harder to track down, but if we do a little bit of a flyby and keep our eyes and ears peeled, mostly our ears, and we may be able to hear it if we happen to bump into it, which is what happened last time when we were in that system where we had gotten the Reapers mad at us and then still have the music going from it. Because, well, I'm guessing that's why we missed it before. This system, though, is considerably larger, so it is not as easy to do this as thoroughly. Last time, it was so close to the mass relay when we did that I was like, I'm actually not sure if this is just the sound effect for me walking up to the mass relay, or if this is legitimately a new anomaly. So I deliberately just kind of did that corner there, but this corner. Is there actually anything here? If not, then we're in trouble. We're gonna have to go back to scanning plants, and your guess is as good as mine as to which ones we have and have not scanned. Really hoping there would be an obvious sound effect here. But I did not hear one. Admittedly, I talked over it a lot, and so I may have missed it, may have gone right over it and missed it for that reason, but I assume we scanned Cho. I think we scanned you. We might have tried to get clever and do a double scan here. That would be my best guess for where our second scan went. So maybe we scan here. Or in case we didn't scan Cho, we do this. Yikes. Very, very yikes. So that's what we didn't want. That's what we didn't want. Yeah. Hoping. Here's something there. Here's something there. Thought I might have heard something. But yeah, we are gonna fill this meter with one more scan. So history may in fact repeat itself here. For what it's worth, all the Reapers are coming from the right side there, so we could, almost all of them, we could get aggressive if we're hanging out on this side a bit. Still not hearing anything. Still not hearing anything. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's that. Oh! I think I just heard it. I heard it right here. And it is right next to this Reaper. So that's lovely. So that's lovely. Yes, you hear it right. Hold on. There. This Reaper is going to try to attack us immediately upon doing that. So I think what we do is we just exit right here. We're gonna save, because otherwise this Reaper might just eat us alive, and that would be unfortunate. But now we know. It's here. Okay, it's fuel. Now we run for our dear lives. Reapers might not have actually, or at least we were so quick that the Reapers did not start raiding us. I don't know. Didn't hear the sound. Well, I guess the sound effect was already going. The sound effect was already going, so that's maybe why I didn't feel like the Reapers were going to raid us. So we didn't hear the sudden dramatic shift in music. But okay, so with that, now Hades Gamma is also 100%. I think that means all the systems that actually are explorable and have stuff in them are now 100% explored, so that's good stuff. I think we are now ready to head over to the Citadel. Right, nothing we're missing here. Minos also 100%. Ismar, we just did. Yup, looking good. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so as a reminder, we know that there's some kind of mission here. We saw on our quest list Priority Citadel 2. I deliberately did not read it just because there might be some spoilers in that description, but let's just see what the whole deal is here, because we're looking to meet the Solarian Counselor. So let's do it. We can do the Dr. Bryson's Lab, Doc 42, those are DLCs, but no, we're going for the main place, the Alliance docks.
Alliance Control, this is SSV Normandy. Are we clear to descend? Alliance Control, this is Normandy. We're headed to Bay 1-4, Zakara Ward. Are we clear to descend?
Anybody home? Those are Cerberus colors. And the Cerberus logo.
What the hell's going on down there? Even if there were a station malfunction, they'd have backups online. I got a bad feeling here. Checking emergency channels. Hey, yeah, this is Joker. Uh-huh. Yeah, no kidding. Commander, there's a communication from Thane. He says it's important. I think you'll want to hear this.
Put him through.
Shepard, the Citadel is under attack. Cerberus troops are everywhere and they're in control of the docks.
Are
What?
you safe?
No, I had to evade their commandos at the hospital. I'm in a Presidium storefront.
Did Ashley make it out?
We got separated. She said she had to protect the Council. I'm going to CSEC headquarters.
Why CSEC headquarters?
It's been compromised, and CSEC's response depends on it. As long as Cerberus is holding the headquarters, they have the station.
All right. Joker, get us away from the docks and close to CSEC HQ. We'll deploy in the shuttle.
Aye, aye, Commander.
So, no big deal or anything, but the Citadel is under attack. Yes, Cerberus is attacking the Citadel. Bold strategy, Cotton. And I would say we'll see if it pays off for them, except thus far, it seems like it is paying off for them, and we gotta find a way to stop them. So, we have, of course, faced Cerberus many times before. They tend to be pretty shield heavy, which means we want to make sure we have at least somebody who has an anti-shields power. So that probably means either Garrus or Edie is going to need to be a part of the team. Yeah, Javik, did we give you anything to deal with shields like Dark Channel, depending on how we spec that? Not sure that we went that route, though, so I'm thinking probably not him. I think it probably will be Garrus, as he does have the overload, of course. So that's going to be key, and he obviously has just boatloads of weapon damage, so that's nice, too. We'll go that route. Then there will be some old-fashioned Garrus and Shepard. I mean, it's a classic combo, right? And I'm thinking this combo might get even more classic than that, because there will be a very good reason for bringing Liara on this mission that we will talk about extensively later. I won't say just yet to avoid spoilers, but there is definitely good reason to bring her for this mission. Even if you haven't brought her on your previous missions, haven't relied on her all that much, this, in many ways, is going to be one of the most important times to bring Liara in the entire game. So we are definitely going to bring her as squad mate number 2. So yes, it is the 2 squad mates from Mass Effect 1. Okay, so for us, we do now have the Hurricane. So that's good stuff. We, still don't have great mods for it, unfortunately. We do have the Heatsink, which does help make up for one of the Hurricane's weaknesses, which is that it blows through ammo like crazy. And that is potentially more important than applying the extra damage. Obviously, damage is great, but that is not something that this weapon is lacking. What we'd really love, though, would be to compensate for its other weakness, that being that it has crazy kick. It basically just, as soon as you start firing it, it points straight up to the sky. So that is one reason why, in many ways, it's almost like having a stabilization source on this thing is functionally as if you are giving it additional damage, because you're going to hit with more of the bullets. And so that is... hit with more bullets means more damage, right? And we threw on the ultralight just because I think we needed this to be at 200% cooldown, but let's just verify that here. We take it off and go with the damage instead. We are 9% off. Is it worth it? It's probably worth it. I mean, are we ever going to notice 9%? I mean, it's a tiny, tiny difference. So I think we go that. I think we go with that. Then, for our pistol, we're definitely sticking with the Acolyte here. Don't think anything's going to change. We have the mods we're looking for there. Power amp and pistol, pierce, or extended barrel for the extra damage. So that's our way of getting rid of opposing shields, which still we'd like to have Garrus be the one to deal with that, but in case we need to do so, the Acolyte is our answer. As for Garrus, of course it's Typhoon. It's got to be Typhoon. Then, however, for the mods, do we have better options here? We might. So this is the kind of thing we're looking for the SMGs, as a source of stabilization. Unfortunately, we don't have one yet. Not as necessary for Garrus here, though. So we had the extra rounds, which is not terrible, just because the Typhoon does ramp up over time and get more damage when it does so. So by having more bullets in the chamber means that You have more time in which you're at full damage. But I'm thinking we probably want to go instead for the armor piercing, because Garrus has a ton of armor piercing on his armor piercing ammo. I think it's 75%. And then if you add in this assault rifle piercing mod for an additional 25%, then you are completely ignoring the defenses from armor. So that is sweet. So I think that is probably still better than going with the additional magazine size, but you could make a case for that if you don't have the piercing mod. And do we have other sniper rifles? Yes, but although this is the starting sniper, the Mantis, it is still our best single-shot sniper at the moment, because the Raptor and the Viper are both sort of like hybrids between snipers and assault rifles, so I think we do still stick with the Mantis here. And for mods, yeah, we probably do go this route. Okay, just to maximize damage. So that's good for Garrus. For Liara, we did just upgrade the Scorpion, because we expected that we might need to have Liara using it here. Good weapon for her, and the pistol mod and caliber barrel also makes sense. So we'll stick with that, and then, I mean, we might as well give her, a Hurricane, because that is definitely better than the starting Shuriken. So for her, probably the same deal here, especially because squad mates tend to do better dealing with weapon inaccuracies, specifically for things like weapon stability being bad. So that should work well for her. Okay, so there's the weapons. I think we're good there. Now for our points. We have 4 remaining here, and there isn't much that we can do with 4, unfortunately. 1 point away from being able to upgrade our cluster grenades more, which might be worth waiting for. Alternatively, I mean, yes, we could get pull leveled up a bit here, but, I mean, do we really care about 0.1 second recharge speed? We basically just have this 1 point to deal with Guardian shields, and it's not going to make a huge difference if the duration, or the recharge speed or the duration are slightly better. So I think we save that point. Shockwave, perhaps, has the best case to be made for us investing further in this. I'm not sure, have used it once thus far, but what it is useful for is it technically can wall hack, and by that I mean it can shoot through walls and hit enemies. It does not get blocked by walls or cover. So in niche situations, it can be very useful if you don't want to run into an enclosed space with a dangerous enemy, or you know that there's an enemy on the other side of a wall and it's just much safer not to go in that area, so might as well whittle away at them with something like Shockwave. That's an option. So we could go that route. It's basically just a question of, do you spend a few more points in Shockwave? We'd be able to improve the recharge speed by 0.2 seconds, 0.21 seconds. I don't think that really is going to make a big difference here. So I think what we do is we just wait. And we are not close to leveling, but hopefully we level relatively soon at some point during the mission, and then either upgrade this cluster grenade when we do so, or we, at that stage, have enough points that we could at least get up to Shockwave 3, then we get the damage, we get the force, and that starts to become more meaningful. So I think Shepard is good in that sense. Liara, this is key. The reason why we are bringing Liara is because Stasis. In short, Stasis. We've not used it that much thus far, but there is a very specific reason why we have invested in it thus far and why we will continue to invest in it here, and that is that we need it right here, right now, starting with this mission. So, we have already gotten to the point where, well, I mean, it is still super slow, so the recharge speed is a little painful. The duration may look tempting to increase here, except remember that when you freeze an enemy with stasis, they are frozen, yes. However, they can only take a certain amount of damage before they break out of the stasis, and that number is actually fairly low. And so usually, that is the limiting factor. The amount of damage they take before they break out, not the duration that you see listed here. So for that reason, increasing the amount of damage they can take before they break out is probably preferable. It is at least the consensus opinion amongst Mass Effect 3 multiplayer players, maybe you could make the case that, you know, if you're just trying to freeze enemies with the stasis and you're not directly going to target them, you're kind of just like, okay, we're gonna freeze you there and focus on everyone else for the time being. You just stay right there. We're gonna take everyone else out, and then you're gonna be still frozen by the time we're done. And so then we'll just take you on 3v1. Like, maybe in that case you can make the case for increasing the stasis duration, where you basically freeze them and then ignore them for the 10.2 seconds. But assuming you're stasising them with the intention of following up to actually take them out, I think stasis strike is definitely preferable. We'll go that route. Then we do have enough for one more point here. We can go either bonus power, use 2 powers in a row by giving the first power a 30% chance to cause no cooldown. It's a gamble. You know, is there a chance you get to use 2 abilities in a row, which for an ability with such a long recharge time is something to be said for that, but still 30% is pretty hard to rely upon. So I think for that reason we'll take the consistency and instead just increase the recharge speed. Still very slow at 9.8 seconds. So the hope here remains that we stasis enemies that we would like to stasis once, take them out, and then even if there's a little bit of time before Liara can launch another stasis, hopefully it's not an emergency because we've dealt with whoever the most high priority of enemies was. And remember, stasis does not work on armored enemies, but anyone else it can affect, and so that is somewhat of a limiting factor in terms of who you can hit with a stasis, but there is, as I said, reason why it is critically important in this mission. So we'll take this here, and I mean, we would love, thing that I would have ideally made sure that we'd have gotten for this mission would have been the bubble stasis, because this gives stasis an AoE. It is right now just a single target that gets stasised, but if we have bubble, then that means we can hit at least 2 enemies with the stasis simultaneously, and it can even be something that enemies walk into and become frozen. So that would have been ideal, and, you know, had I known exactly what level we'd be at when we got to this mission, I might have held back a little bit on, say, warp ammo or passives or something like that, just to be absolutely certain that we could get to bubble stasis here, because this was the dream, was definitely to get bubble stasis for this mission. I'm hoping that we still level up quickly enough that that is possible some points in this mission, and that we would do still benefit from that, but we'll see. So, let us begin. We are an adept, so we are flinging biotics all over the place. So we have tons of crowd control, but our weakness is shields, because most biotic abilities do not work against shields. Stasis being, in many ways, one of the few exceptions to that, so that is one of the reasons why stasis is so good. But that's another reason why I was talking about having Garrus be someone with overload, how that's critically important, because if we can't singularity someone when they have shields on, then we lose our primary source of crowd control. So we're either relying on Garrus to take them out, get rid of their shields so we can follow up with a singularity or something of that sort, or have Liara hit them with a stasis. So, that is all the points that we care to spend here. So let's get going.